honestly, sometimes I just go out and I just start to shake. So, it's also the tension comes out, but then also like I feel like actually it's probably the stress that's pushing away my senses. Like I'm not in touch with myself. I'm not in touch with my power. Is the stress that is draining. So I shake it out and then I start like jumping or dancing. And then I really feel that actually, yes, I have my strength.
Hello and welcome to How We Are Healing, the podcast where real people share vulnerable stories and life learned lessons. I'm Tristan, friendly yoga teacher, and your host through the darkness towards healing, one conversation at a time. And now, on to the episode. Heal, heal, heal! Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm your host Tristan and we're here to talk about how we are healing. So with me today is Emese. She is an expert in embodied living. Emese, thank you for being here and welcome to the podcast.
Listen, thank you so much for having me and for inviting me to share this conversation together.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for our conversation. So talk to us about what embodied living means to you.
Yes. So embodied living, it means that you really, really connect to the parts of you that are sometimes hidden. So it is your essence, but in the daily life, as growing up, we are kind of disconnected from who we really are. So embodied living means that you are connected and aligned who you are in your essence, and then you embody that, and then you create a life that's really resonating with that.
So talk to us about what you've learned about the importance of movement and a little bit about your journey.
Movement has been a very, very crucial and essential part of my life. So when I was 6 years old, I was already doing gymnastics, and I was in a elementary school, which where every day I had a movement class, like PE class, because it was a special PE kind of education. So it already set the direction to me in my life, how sport and movement is important. And then dance has come into my life, and then yoga has come into my life. But I have to say that there is as if there was like a button that you switch, because till, let's say, about till my 30s, I'm 46 at the moment, till my 30s it was more about like physical, only just the physical body. And even when I danced, it was all about like performing. You have to reach a goal, so you use your body as a tool, but only or on a physical level. So as much as, of course, movement was such a big part of my life, as community and health, but only at a later stage I understood movement is can happen not only on the physical level but also on an energetic level, and then it goes takes you deeper, and then helps you in your mental health and spiritual journey. So basically that's all movement. So I wouldn't say movement is only physical, but let's say it's through the physical movement of the body you can really embark on a journey that's taking you way on different levels, and then it's all then coming in that under the umbrella of like holistic, because the holistic way of living is when you have the physical part, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. And to me, movement currently, or the way I'm living and the way I'm teaching, is more in this holistic way.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what you are teaching currently.
Yeah, so it's also, yeah, I also teach movement only on a physical level for people who are interested in that part. What I'm working more is definitely classes and retreats and even online offerings that is under the umbrella of embodied movement. And then when I work for longer courses, it's embodied living, which is more about how to live. That's an important word for me, how to live unapologetically, which, if you would like, I don't know if you would like, but I love to add to that word, because it feels it's you know when I was young, unapologetic was all about being a rebel. So it's like just going against the word. But basically, unapologetically, it's not that. It's the opposite of that. Unapologetically, it's that deep sense of knowing who you are and being anchored of who you are, that it's so powerful that you are just like calm in it. And because it doesn't need to be aggressive and arrogant and loud. You are just unapologetically embrace who you are, and then you live your life that way.
Yeah, I'm
So
kind of taking it to mean that it isn't about rebelling, because rebelling is talking about the external. It's being unapologetic so that it's all about internal. It's about, no, this is actually who I am. This is my authentic self. It's not, it doesn't matter what the external says. And that, I like
exactly.
that. Yeah.
Exactly, because and that's why I always just like to give this short explanation because I think there's a turning, like when we are young, we are kind of really rebelling against. You know, it's so important. We feel that to be authentic, but be authentic in a way that is even like unique and special. And it's still that point where you haven't started your internal journey, right? It's rather like I'm not finding myself in the word. I feel a bit disconnected. I feel judged. I feel so I'm rebelling against that. But so there's that could be the unapologetic side of that when I color my hair red and I'm like I'm going all against the society. But to me, unapologetic is not really that. Unapologetic is like that calm breeze that I'm home, I'm myself, and it doesn't mean that you don't have challenges in your life. Challenges are always there, but if you live from that space, then somehow life just becomes different, and then you are just unapologetic about it. It really is because that's who you are, and that's just then a space and energy that you also create and attract.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. So, in talking about embodied living, what are some of the success stories you've had with your clients?
Yeah, there's one that still somehow is really, really close to my heart because seeing her journey and how success is something that's very subjective, but she's successful also financially, but also how much she helps to people. So I think that she started her journey toward this success uh, when she met me, and then you also, of course, know her. She said, and then I really, really feel that I really supported her connecting or reconnecting her to parts of her that was completely suppressed. So it was like so suppressed that she wouldn't even know that they were existing. And then these were more the, feminine and surrendering and even kind of the intuition to listen and then, to live from that space. And then she started kind of to work with that part of hers more because she was running a lot, doing a lot of movement and then being just very hard on herself, if you remember.
Hmm.
And then from that space, she started to kind of listen more and surrender more. And then also, expressing herself more. That was also part of somatic or embodied movement, whatever was rising, just like allow herself to express. And then from that point on, like something really, really started to change in her life. And now she's, again, an amazing coach in her field.
Yeah.
And another one, she has become a very dear friend to me. I lived a lot in Holland. I'm still officially based in Holland. Miriam, she's a mother of three. And then, of course, her life was really about children and then, being a mother to their children. But she always, there was a part of her that she felt that she always dreamt of having a small shop with her husband. Her husband, by the way, was a really, really successful graphic designer. So after she came to the 10 days of retreat with me, where we were working with all the elements and a lot of music, I often worked with live music and DJs. And then, really, really in the midst of nature, connecting to the sea and earth and, air. She again connected back to that part that give her that trust and power and strength. So it was a reconnection and remembrance. I don't like to say change. I like to say that it's a remembrance of who she really was.
Yes.
So when she went home, actually, in 2 years from that point, they opened that small shop that actually now is pretty famous in the area where they are like living, and they have all the artisan like again cheese and wine, and so it's kind of they created a community
Hmm.
around that, which is I think also really, really important. And she's super happy. It's a lot of work, but she's super happy with this. And to me, it's also a success story, like supporting people to really create something from who they are that's really, really aligned with who they are, and then just share it. Be happy also, and then share it with the world. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. What I pulled out of that story is just the importance of having kind of an outside perspective sometimes, because you were able to help these people realize, a part of themselves that they weren't aware of. Like sometimes we are so in our heads and in our past and in our history that we can't look at ourselves from an objective point of view and understand, hey, did you know that you are blocking this? Did you know that you are, saying these things, which is essentially a belief that is limiting you, right? So these are kind of the beautiful things about working with other people, right? And so thank you for being there as a mentor for others so that you can help them create, right? Which is why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's as you just said, it's everything starts with the belief system. So, there's so many parts of us that are suppressed again because of because of our journey, even the way we were born and then we were raised and parents and society and whatsoever. So there's so many parts that are suppressed or we even forget to connect to those parts. And then basically when you are journeying through with me, then this is exactly the journey that I'm inviting you really to connect to those parts and understand, you know, how grounded you are, like, connect to your body, how beautiful, how nourishing, how strong your body, how strong you are, strong. And then when you are also realizing that, then you also have a different connection with to strength and vulnerability. And like when you start showing, a lot of things are coming up when we are working with these tools. And again, everything starts with the belief system, because belief is also then your emotions, your thoughts, and then the energy, and then that's basically that's the frequency how you create. So that's exactly,
That's
if it makes
beautiful.
sense,
It
right?
makes a lot of sense. It does. Like more and more every day. It really, as I myself am continuing on my healing journey, that is essentially what I have been learning is just the importance of intuition, connecting with myself, being authentic, being creative as well, and actually creating something as opposed to consuming, right? Sitting there doom scrolling or, watching
Exactly.
Netflix and yeah,
That's big, yeah,
we don't
and
want
yeah, how to also balance that, because that, okay, it has its space and place, but then
sun and moon, exactly. So as the sun being
Mhm.
the action side of us, the creation, but also the moon side of being in touch with our emotions and being calm and fine, having a night of Netflix and some ice cream.
yeah, and also you create from the moon side, like that's the space when you are, that's the space where you are when you really really connect, and that's the space from which you really connect. So that's also the moon and the sun.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
yeah,
Talk to us
yeah.
about some of the mentors or gurus you've had in your life.
Personally, there's I like, because we know each other with Tristan from India. So when we use guru, it has a very, to me at least, still has a positive meaning. Um, though I don't like to use it in the Western world because I believe it's misinterpreted. My very significant teacher, and then it's also a nice way to put guru. She's a dance teacher and dance guru to me. It's my Bharatanatyam teacher. And Bharatanatyam is a classical Indian dance, and it really really it connects you to to their basically religion, but not as a religion, but as to me as a symbolism, like gods and goddesses and symbolism. And also just herself, well, first of all, how connected she is to this tradition, and then how committed is she is to bring this tradition to her students, and then also the love uh, that she's doing it is like something that taught me so much. She also has become my Indian mother, so we have a very very close relationship. But just the life, she lives life so like selfless
Yes.
with so much knowledge, and then she's herself as a tool of like basically transferring this knowledge of dance, Bharatanatyam, classical Indian dance, of the Kalakshatra lineage, to her students, which is not that easy, because in India again these traditional dancers are not that respected anymore, unfortunately. So she has taught me a lot about life, about being selfless, about the tradition, about discipline. And another very important teacher in my life was Sienna Sherman. She's an American, she's a lot, like yoga teacher. She's an amazing yoga teacher. She again, and she works a lot also with the Indian gods and goddesses in her yoga school. But also she's an amazing storyteller, and she's also a priestess in the Catholic tradition, and like she brings a lot of knowledge. So she helped me really understand. We worked around the 13 moon, so we worked around the year. That's understanding how connected women we are, kind of to the moon and nature, and then it absolutely works with the elements, directions and elements. So every direction and every element has its significance, and then it's very, very important in my work. Already when we know each other, the way I remember, the way I created my vinyasa classes, and even since the way I work, it is through nature, because we are part of nature, and I think that's one of the most important message or takeaway that I would also leave here. Go out and spend time in nature, because then you understand that we are nature, we are flesh and bone, like earth, and then also water. Like more than 80% of the human body is made of water. So what water, again, the fluidity, the sensuality, connections, creativity, womb for a mother, for a mother, for a woman, that's the space we can really create. Fire is like who you are in a positive way, your ego, your strength, your kind of your sun, but sun from within. When you connect to your sun, you really, really remember your strength, your motivation, your passion, the heart, the element of the air. So when the fire is like reaching the heart, which is still courageous, but then you have that breath of connection to you, and breath of connection to others, and love, that's from where, love, like lotus, is like opening, and then from that space, air and self-expression, and that's how you communicate, and then your voice in the word, and then it goes to kind of, to space, and spirits is like where you kind of like channel, and then you are really like the medium in all. So yeah, I work with all, and then I learned a lot also with Tiana to be rooted, just to be kind of a vessel of love in a way. Yeah.
It all
So
comes back to that. It's like I was looking at the different emotions and where they vibrate. That emotion and vibration of lust is very much a part of living here because it's all around. It's how a lot of locals make money in terms of they've got the bars and restaurants and dance clubs. But that lust vibrates at one of the lowest vibrations. But then you look at love and it vibrates really, really high. At the same time, we do need those lower vibrations too. It's not like just because it's low vibration, it's bad. It's just that if we can more connect with our love, right, and operate from that standpoint first, it kind of helps influence all of the other vibrations in us, right?
And like if we bring the chakra system in, like 7 chakras, so the root one, and then you have your, the water, the creativity, and then you have your fire, and then you have your heart, and then there's 3 more. So 7, and the heart is the middle chakra, right? So that's where actually your upper, so all, like this is more dense, and then this is, more like light. That's where it all connects. And then to really, to me, to be really good in this world, feel good, and then manifest, and it means that actually you are connected to up, but you can bring it also down.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then it all meets in the heart.
Yes.
Right,
Well,
so we are.
manifestation is about material world, right? And so you need that heart to connect to the spirit, but it essentially comes down for the material part, right? To manifest in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's not enough to live only up, or it's not enough to live only down.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how you bring all this together, and that actually, to me, that's where, that's where it meets in the heart. And so anything you do with love, and then through the traditions, be it the Indian classical tradition or more the priestess tradition, and then again the archetypal, and then moon world, what I'm working, or the darkness as well, as much as light, but I'm working a lot with the dark as well. It's also to understand, sacredness, which I'm very cautious about the words that I'm using here, because I think that in the Western world we misuse and even abuse
Mm-hmm.
certain terminology. Sacredness is like live life, sacred. It means that again you understand who you are, you understand your that's the connection, and then also the blessings of the gods, goddesses, your ancestor were. So living life sacred is really appreciating life of yours and life who walked before you, and then also the connection both with the higher words, and then also with this earth that surrounds us, you know. So
Mhm.
having that respect and honor, that's really, really important in the work that I'm doing.
Oh, amazing. I love language and I love how careful you are with language. And I actually want to come back to something you said earlier. You said that the word guru is misinterpreted in the West. And I agree. I've got my own opinion on it, but I want to know more about what you meant by that because it's super interesting to me.
Even in India, it's misused. Guru in India, in a most pure essence, it stands for teacher, nothing less, nothing more. However, these teachers in India are highly respected, right? So, and that was to me, I loved it. You know, when I started to take my, and I always talk a little bit longer, but I will make a point. I like to talk longer, so you see, but I will make a point. So in India, when you go for a dance class, for example, like you sit and then you just also observe, right? So you pay respect and you honor your teacher. And this is a very, very beautiful thing because your teacher can teach you so much about the subject, but also about life. And then these kind of gurus were all respected and honored for that because of their knowledge of their tradition, knowledge of of connected to their gods and goddesses. So it's a very, very beautiful and positive term as of guru. However, because of just what I described that in India, gurus also gurus are someone who are highly respected and honored. There were also people who took advantages of it. So they kind of use their power, they use their
Yeah.
influence indeed to use and abuse people around them. So there's been a lot of scandals around, sex and this and that. And then that's why it's like a negative became a negative word. And I also I want to talk about that, Tristan, if you don't mind a little bit, because it's something that is really important to me. When I look in the Western world, I think teachers are losing, and also just teachers in the school, or we don't know, or just your mother, right? Our mothers, who I think they are our very first teachers. And it's completely lost. I see that it's lost in the Western world, because I don't mean, I don't like to put anyone on a pedestal, but to respect the elders, to respect our mothers, to respect people who walked before us and might know more than us, I think it's like very, very important. And then to live our life with that honor and respect and gratitude, to me, that's the only way to grow. Yeah, so I want to mention this. And therefore, and I see that still in India, which I really, really like, and I miss it a little bit in the Western world.
I do 100% agree. And there are a lot of people coming out, at least in the United States, accounts of teachers where they're talking about the disrespect that's happening in classrooms and how kids are not
Yes.
paying attention and there's a lot of back talk and things like this. And it's like that, I don't think that phenomena is occurring in India. There's such a different way of respecting teachers there.
If you're a teacher, people respect you for being a teacher. And I think, again, it's just this whole tradition of respect the elderly, respect the ones who, walked before us. Then, and I have these teachers in my life. And it's the same from transpersonal psychology. I had an amazing mentor. She's all about, what happened in the womb and then during birth. And she really, really created workshops and tools to actually help you reconnect to these experiences. And therefore, you can level up your life, because we live our lives oftentimes coming from those traumas and experiences. So of course I pay respect, and yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, teacher and guru. It can be an absolutely positive thing if we know where it's coming from and we respect also the tradition it's coming from. But obviously we can really, abuse it, and
Yeah.
that's not all right.
That is something that we almost have to learn. I'm thinking of the phrase buyer beware, right? So we've got this phrase that we use in the United States, buyer beware, and it means you have to know what you're buying. You have to do the due diligence of who is this company, who is this person, what are they selling, does it work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we have to do the same thing with our gurus. I mean, we don't have to, but we should. It's in our best interest to know, okay, this person is my teacher, is my mentor, is my guru. I understand they're coming with a lot more knowledge than me or experience. Also, there is a potential for an abuse. And so we have to be aware of that and understand as a student, it is our job to make sure that doesn't happen as well and to also not seek it out. Because there are those students who look at a guru, who look at a teacher and they're like, "Oh my gosh, they're so amazing." And they put them on a pedestal, and that's
Yeah,
dangerous too. So it's almost like it's a contract that's being written on both sides. And yes, the
yeah,
guru is the one that has more knowledge, power, experience, and therefore they should be held to that higher standard of making sure they're not breaking the contract and using their power for bad. But we also need to have that buyer beware as the student. Who am I actually listening to and taking advice from? Do I want to live that life of the guru or the
exactly.
mentor? Yeah.
I so agree with you. Like, I didn't mean in any chance, I didn't mean here to copy or like be completely like
Mm-hmm.
blindsided or even brainwashed. That's exactly like I do have teachers and I have gurus I learned a lot from, and that's again the love come in from them as well, that they wish you well on their journey, right? So that's also really really important, that to me big teachers are, they know that they are there to actually give their knowledge, and then they just let you on your path, whatever. So that, it's part of becoming your fullest self, and then bring your work out. Yeah, just know that as well, their space and then your space in this, and also in this relationship,
Right.
right?
Oh, I love this
Absolutely.
conversation. As a teacher, right? I love this conversation because something that you're touching upon is as a teacher, you do have to realize that you might teach a student and then watch them surpass you, watch them shine brilliantly. And it's like you have to be totally okay with that. Like that's part of the contract of being a teacher. It's like you're helping someone open up like a book and now you get to watch them like fly, right? So
Absolutely, that's the biggest gift, and I see that, like even if I could just contribute like this tiny much to someone's life, that's just like beautiful. Or even someone is longer with me, and then we depart. That's also beautiful. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's because it's not about me.
mhm,
It's basically we are a vessel. We are just transiting, or we are medium. We are just giving our gifts, and that's why also the responsibility is so big as well. I think it's important as of responsible. You are responsible, and I think you are highly responsible, and it's your uh, kind of even your job to kind of live your full potential
yes.
and connect to your gifts, you know, so you can really be well in this world, but then you can also support others in their journey,
Yeah,
you know.
totally. Well, that speaks to the work you're doing. You're helping people understand their gifts and their natural talents and get rid of the things that they are doing that is taking up so much time and energy that doesn't use their natural talents, right? Versus no, make these little tweaks and connect more with your authentic self and now start living your life and creating through your
Yeah,
natural gifts and seeing how things change.
absolutely, Tristan. And it's such, I really love, I of course I have my fluctuation and ups and downs and like that, just like life. But we both of us have been working in corporate for long years, for long years. So then, yeah, then this work is even becoming more meaningful because we know how. And I don't want to, there's people who are doing well in corporate, and there's people who are built. I think like in the world is really a playground, and you need to have different characters and different. So there's people who are doing well in corporate, but what I've experienced, and I'm talking about the experience of nearly 20 years
Mhm,
here in
mhm,
the fashion industry and sport, that are actually really heavy industry, that they stay there because they think that they don't have a choice. That's how they were brought up. That's what, just out of fear, not enough money, or just simply even maybe didn't find their true passion.
mhm,
So it's complex, but I see a lot out of fear. And then once they understood, once if you understand really who you are and you are anchored in it, then you also understand you have a choice. You always have a choice. and then you have so much in your hand, you know. I mean, of course, we can have an endless discussion about we have destiny to work toward and how much we can influence it and whatsoever. I truly believe we have a destiny. However, how we, you know, and then we are guided toward that, but how we do that, it's in our hands. You know, what we create, it's in our hands. And you can create whatever you want to create. I'm a true believer in that.
I love
But
this.
it's work. It's work. It doesn't come like, it doesn't fall on your lap, you know.
Exactly.
But it's, yeah, that's why I love to work with people. I work also with people from different, you know, walks of life, and a lot with corporate because I've been there for 20 years. And and especially when you get to a certain age even, and you know, I have everything, I have money, but I'm not happy.
That will speak to a lot of people. So I think it's important to talk about that and maybe expand. Like, I found myself at a point in my corporate career where I'm like, okay, I've checked all the boxes that like everybody else told me I needed to check, right? Society told me I needed to do this, this, this. My parents told me I needed to do this, this, this. You get to that point and you go, but where is my happiness? Where is my joy, right? And so you understand and start to realize that there's something else there. And I think that is the authentic self that's coming up and saying, wait a minute, hello, I'm
Yeah,
I'm here too and I have needs, but you're ignoring me because you're too busy living your life of waking up early and making a breakfast and going to the office and then going to the gym and then, you know, having a date and then watching Netflix and going to sleep early and doing it all over. And it's like, where is the expression? Where is the creation?
exactly. And then that's why you also see that there's so many burnouts. And it's crazy. I took up a 1 year project. So my intention was truly to bring back some understanding and tool about mental health as well. But it just feels that somehow the industry, a lot of, especially like bigger organizations, they start to change, but they are still not ready because to be also to be unique, it's something that's not supported. And I'm talking about an experience of a 20-year journey, not a 1 year journey. I also have to say that it was different when I started, because retail was smaller, fashion, so it was more about smaller companies. They saw more you as an individual, and then they embrace you as an individual, as opposed to now the big corporate world, who is, you know, there is just standard procedures, and then it's really really hard to be in it. And then again the question comes, you become kind of a robot. Everything is automatic, so you are completely losing yourself in this, because it's all about performance, and every day, you know, get up, go, and children, and then where is my joy, and who am I, and yeah. So there's point. I see a lot of people getting to a point in their lives who've been there, who've done it, and then now they'll reach a point where, you know, there must be something else. And the choice is again in their hands. Am I wanting it enough to change it? You know, because it takes courage.
It
It does
does.
take courage because you jump into the unknown.
Hmm. And it takes, well, ooh, I love that, jumping into the unknown, because what I'm thinking now is it is about beliefs, and you have to have a internal confidence and trust and belief that
Yeah.
jumping into the unknown doesn't mean death and doesn't mean darkness. It actually means the opposite. It means joy, it means life, it means creation, it means abundance, it means too much money, it means, you know.
But oftentimes, first the darkness comes, you know,
Yes.
and we both know. So, you know, it's, and that's also the beautiful about the tradition that I told you about, the priestess tradition. It's in order, and then also just look at life. Everything is starting from the dark. So in order to, for every rebirth, something needs to die. And sometimes that's very painful, you know. Sometimes it's very painful because you have to let go of belief systems. Even, you know, you are, you are, sometimes you're insisting on things that are not good to you, but that's safe because that's what you've known in your whole life. And then let go of something that was safety, or kind of reprogramming that, you know, this whole, like, what is safety means, you know.
Yeah.
it really first it's the dark, and then there's moments of light, and then there's more light, and then you understand that there's it's limitless. We limit ourselves, basically. That's what I'm saying. We sabotage and limit ourselves.
We do,
Yeah.
we really do. Well, I personally am living that right now. I feel like I'm going through a shadow phase where I'm looking at myself and my own limiting beliefs, and I'm being shown a mirror that is my darkness. And it's scary because it's like, oh, I thought I was past this. I thought I was, so enlightened. I thought I had already worked on these things. Why are they being shown to me? But there's a beauty in it. There's a beauty in that darkness that gets shown to you because there is no path to the light without the dark, right? You need to kind of walk through it.
Yeah, we are born out of dark. Human psyche is so intelligent, Tristan, because the thing is that first upper layers are coming off. And then the psyche is so intelligent because it lets you let go only as deep as it's safe for you. And then the next layer comes, and there's deeper, and there's more, and there's more, and there's more. So that's how it goes. And then with every layer, with every kind of bit of darkness, then there's even more light coming in. There's a little bit even more light, but then also you go deeper in the dark. Somehow that's how it goes. And the beauty of it as well, that because you understand how it works, you will be also able to hold yourself and know exactly also what to do when you are going into the dark. So you kind of surrender, you go, you are ready. So it's not like you are staying there for so long. If you remember your life, I don't know, but when I was younger, because I didn't have the tools, and I didn't even know my own, dynamics. So I stayed in the dark for so long, so long, so long that it was even hard to come out. I was depressed, like in my young years. But then when you actually start to know yourself and work through your traumas and your wounds, and you also how everything works, you go there, you let it happen, you understand. And that's why I think it's really important often to have outer help, a mentor, a therapist, because you cannot do it all. And then and then but still, with the support of someone, but still you don't stay there for too long, you come out, it's and then you start actually peeling through the onion in even in a more, in a faster manner, in a different way. It makes sense what I'm saying.
100%. It 100% makes sense because I was born in the United States. It's a hyper independent country and culture. And so there is this sense of, oh, I need to do it myself. I can carry the burden of the world on my shoulders, et cetera, et cetera. And I think to some extent we can handle things on our own. We don't need the external. But when you do surrender and allow yourself the grace of seeking outside help from someone who understands and knows and has been through that journey, it helps you so much quicker, right? So there's that video of the child learning to ride a bike, right? And they go on their own and they fall, they fall, they fall, they fall. And then they go with a teacher, a parent, whatever. And as they're about to fall, the parent just kind of whoop, rights the bike so that you're not
Yeah,
wobbling, and then
yeah,
all of a sudden once you get that certain speed, you're off and running and you won't
yeah,
wobble again. But you need someone. I don't want to say you need someone. I want to say if you have someone who is helping you on that journey, you're able to get to your destination so much quicker and with fewer scrapes and bumps.
yeah, yeah. You really don't have to do it all alone. And then it's so, you learn tools that you can really really use, for your own benefit. And then again, coming back to mentors or teachers or therapists, or what you call, like, that's why it's important to have the respect. Of course, I'm also in it, but then to have the respect, and then ask for help and support, and then they support me, maybe 1 week, maybe 1 month, maybe longer. And then again, and then that's how I think our journey is kind of unfolding as well. And then maybe you go to your next. But yes, no one is alone. And then again, like as I said, everything is in your hands. So if it's also a journey to learn to ask for help,
Yes.
and then because it requires certain surrendering, it's vulnerability, yeah, but it's a beautiful thing as well, because I think in life, and I don't necessarily want to take it to an intimate, just talk about intimate partnership, but in order to start creating really healthy relationships, you need to know to ask and receive as much, of course, as to give. So, it's a very, yeah, it's a very also beautiful topic what we are also kind of touch upon here.
Mm-hmm.
To ask, to be able to ask and receive and accept, and yeah.
And part of that
Very
too
important.
is knowing what it is you actually want or knowing what it is you actually need so that you can ask and you can receive.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes we are really, really lost, but I also think like that process of surrendering, in that process of surrendering, you receive what you need,
Yeah.
or who you need,
Yeah.
right?
I think the surrender part is huge. And it sounds like it's a theme that comes up a lot, right?
Yes. It's also connected to always my topic about knowing who you are, because again, is that journey, or that self journey or internal journey of connecting, the more connected you to yourself, kind of the surrendering part also goes a little bit more easier. And you also understand, just we talked about nature, right? Life is cyclical.
Yeah.
Like so, and if you look at nature, it's effortless. So you cannot really influence the cycle. I mean, what we do, of course, let's not talk about what us humans now are doing with nature. Let's not take the conversation there. But if you just look at, you know, the seasons, right? Summer, and then then the fall comes, and then the leaves are falling, and then the winter comes, like everything is kind of like dead, and then the spring, the sun, and then everything starts like blooming and full potential. They're full. So basically, it's that's our lives as well. We are cyclical, creatures. So as much as the doing and then the wanting should be part of our lives, the surrendering and then the passing, and that should be also part. I think it's also rather feeling when we need what,
Right.
which is time, when it's time to surrender and listen to that voice, and listen, and I need rest, I need, but also surrender in a way of, now I need those moments now to listen. I want to, honor that period of my life that I feel that I need to listen and surrender whatever is coming up. So in that way as well. I also work with men as well, but I love working only with women. Uh, for men, it's exactly, they really, really need that part of surrendering big time as well, not only the doing. But I think you're not surprised if I'm saying that for the majority of the women need that as well, the surrendering
We
part.
live in such a masculine world. Like, look at buildings. They are, they've got corners, they're not rounded. They are tall and phallic and hard, right? We don't live in a very feminine world. We live in a hyper masculine world. So it doesn't surprise me at all that you work with women who are so in touch with the masculine because maybe they feel that they have to have more of that quality in order to survive, right? Versus surrender and being more in touch with their feminine side and letting things flow, right? Those are more of the feminine energies, because those types of energies are the ones that get taken advantage of in this world. And there are a lot of examples of how we are so hyper masculine in this world and what it's doing to ourselves, our bodies, and nature and everything around us, right?
Yeah. And how to live in that feminine power, because surrendering to me also means that actually you surrender to your feminine nature, which is very powerful. I mean, I use she for Mother Nature is a she, it's a creator. So it is like we are everything, right? But and then once you connect to that energy within you, then you also understand this dance of gentleness and power, and then that our nature is really like to support each other and not to compete. And obviously, I work more with women because I'm a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever I am working with, I am working with my own experiences. So I truly believe that I embody like, I learned, I walked the path. I am really fine to dive deep. I'm not scared of the darkness, to go to the deepest and coming out. And then I am an embodiment of that, and for this whole journey, and therefore I share this journey with women mainly, because that's what I feel I can support. I can be most of support, or high support for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah.
How
Yeah.
would how do you know if a client, specifically a woman, is not in touch with her feminine? What are some of the signs?
Yeah, feminine is a very, yeah, it's a big terminology, but feminine is absolutely, to me, feminine is also a little bit like intuition,
Mhm,
you know.
mhm,
So I can see the way I can, when I'm hearing someone talking or moving or just walking, I can tell a lot about how someone is connected to their feminine, because we talked about sun and moon. So yes, the feminine is more the moon side, and then the masculine is more the sun. If I ask you to move, and then like you are just frozen, she's definitely. I mean, I see a lot of people, men and women,
mhm, mhm.
they cannot move. They just freeze, because they cannot be in touch with that nature, and it can also come from trauma. So it's a bit more complex than that. But the word, like, how allowing you can be, if you feel that kind of gentleness, if you sense that in the way they speak, the way they walk, the way they are move, that's, I can really sense if how much they are in touch with their femininity,
Right.
feminine side. Yeah.
That's one thing I've known about you forever is how in tune, attuned you are. You see a lot, and you see really deep into someone in the sense that you're like, ah, I know your childhood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a gift.
I'm very intuitive,
Mhm.
and that's why we. It's not a secret that obviously we talked a little bit before this podcast, and then we talked really about when it comes to intuition, and I talked about how we like to work, online
Yeah.
or in person. So my thing is, I like to balance the two. As much as we are going into the online world, I do have online offerings, but I love to work in person,
Mhm.
because I love to sense and feel. Because the more I work in person, I am more attuned I can be with you. And indeed, I have that strong gift of really feeling you, or sensing, or tapping into what you need the most in this meeting, or in this journey with me. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome. What is it about working online that you like, and what is it that you don't like?
What I love working online, that it can collect people. So there's no time, there's no limitation as of I can work only in one country.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful that you can reach anywhere, in the world. And then, that doesn't limit you. I think that that's really, really beautiful. And therefore I had also groups where, of course, it a retreat, retreat setup, it can also happen. But still, if I hold a retreat, it's more from Europe, or now in the Caribbean. I'm building something. It's more Caribbean, and then the States. And so when you are working online, there is just no limitation of where people are coming from. I think for me that's the most beneficial aspect of working online, that I can reach anyone without any time or distance or space limitation. Yeah.
Right. And what are the
No,
what do you prefer
mhm.
about working in person?
Yeah, that's what I just mentioned, that the connection. Like, I also, community can be online, offline, but like that kind of human connection and even touch. Because again, I said I work with the elements. It's super healing to be together in person, because I truly believe that as I see I mean, not only believe, because I see the word, as it's just so fast. Like, it's big, even just the last 10 years, everything is like super fast, super fast, super fast, and then we are on devices, and you know and then we forget to really live in community, to forget to really, okay, I'm looking into your eyes, but it's different through the camera, or if you were sitting next to me, looking into your eyes, if you need just like touch you, just to feel your energy also in a real physical space. And I really, really, really love that. And when I work even one-on-one or, group sessions or group
Mhm.
retreats, even that energy that that group can create with their physical presence,
Yeah,
that just like, it's like nothing. You cannot compare it to anything.
exactly. Thank you for that. So, Emese, earlier in the podcast, you were mentioning certain tools we have so that we can re-regulate ourselves or even get in touch with our intuition. Can you talk a little bit more about some of the tools you use either daily or weekly?
Yeah. For regulating yourself, or I think routine is really, really important. So what I suggest everyone is having kind of a daily routine, like a morning practice, or if someone is an evening person, I really, really like morning. And it doesn't have to be long, even if like 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 25 minutes, and be it a yoga practice or what I love to do. Of course, I do yoga, I practice yoga on a regular basis every morning, but I also just connect with my breath, like every morning when I get up, kind of connect with my breath. And when you are waking up, before doing anything, you are still like kind of connected. You are really connected to the dream world, but then and you can be still very, very feeling connected to your body. So breathing, and then through the breath, like connect to your body. How am I feeling today? What emotions are showing up? What thoughts? What do I need today? I think that's like to start the day like that, with having that kind of compass, connecting to you, and then really asking, what am I needing today? And then oftentimes it's really, I know that for a lot of women, it's hard to take steps towards what they need. But then, you can start, slowly. Just, first just start do one thing that you feel that you need today, right? Just and then you feel the effect on that, how better your day must be. Could it be maybe I need today, I want to be out to the beach. I need to buy flowers. I need to talk with a friend of mine. I don't know, I need to talk to my husband today about something. Like, just pick one thing maybe 10 things are showing up, but then pick one thing that you feel that you can start it. And then you also start understanding that, small changes are starting in your life, and then you start showing up for two or three or four, and then eventually you are being completely aligned, what your needs are. And it's not only needs, because when you connect through the breath to the body and deeper to feelings and thoughts, and then maybe some visions or pictures, that's how you also start connecting to the intuition.
Hmm.
And then again, that's why I said in the morning, when you wake up, you are still absolutely connected. So if you do it in the morning, again, the chances are bigger that you connect to your intuitions. And then again, not there's no such as being in a rush, because if I tell me what you need, and then you are telling me 10 things, but you're really scared because people might think that you go crazy because it's not how normal you are in a normal world, then, again, let's start just one step at a time.
Hmm.
And then eventually you can really change your life this way. I mean, it sounds like small, but it's an amazing tool. The most important is that actually you show up. You show up at least 5 times a week, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Also you can still connect to the body through the breath already. And first, if you don't dare to move, then, show up to your movements. That's already a first big step. What I need to start rediscovering maybe your physical bodies, and maybe sometimes you just touch the body and then something comes up, and then what is, if something is coming up besides what I need, you can write it down. Because when you write down, it's things are coming from the subconscious and even unconscious. And then when you write down, maybe at that moment it doesn't even make sense, but then actually you bring it to the surface, and then you start working on it, and then you start processing it. So that's how you start bringing things to the front from the back. So that's a really, really, really just a basic, but really, really good tool, I would say.
Yeah, I think what I picked up from that as well is something you didn't say, and what you didn't say was wake up and check your phone, right?
Yeah.
Which I,
Wake up and don't check your wake up. don't check your phone, but check in with yourself. And of course, you can say, I have children, I have a wake up, just get up 10 minutes. It's like, honestly, just find a space that's calm in the morning, could be 10 minutes. And then, okay, just like you breathe, maybe even touch the body. How am I feeling? Very honestly, just show up to yourself. And again, if you have longer time, if you have a yoga practice, if you have a Pilates practice, if you have whatever, I would still suggest if 10 minutes just, to ask, what do I need today? Like, even I have a traditional yoga practice, a pretty traditional and strong practice. And still, the way I do it, if I need, I slow down. Like today, I went out and danced in the rain. It was raining, it's rainy season here. I needed to dance, I needed just to connect. Or, I feel it's nice, a bit rigid pose before I go in. I feel like I need to kind of move and circle my shoulder. Yes.
Yes. I have this vision of your neighbors being like, "Who is this woman? I love her."
And if they see it, that's all right. That's okay because that's an invitation.
Totally. Have you ever had anyone join you in these kind of impromptu?
No, it was talking about Hannah.
Uh-huh.
When I was teaching in Goa, she joined me in quite a few times. And then when I'm teaching retreats and I'm doing my morning practice, because I channel and I connect back. Whenever I teach, I always in the mornings I connect back at any time. So even if I have retreats, it's no excuse. I still take my own time. And then if participants or my clients are just walking, and then if I do something that's very invitational, it happened that they joined in. If they see me silent, then no.
Mhm.
But sometimes I also do like shake, then they would like shake. Yeah.
I had a friend on the podcast who was talking about being triggered during a conversation in a group of friends, and she took that opportunity while triggered to re-regulate by moving and doing some Kundalini breathing and Kriya
Yeah.
exercises. And I love
Yeah.
that, just shaking and moving if you need to, and not apologizing for it.
Absolutely. But obviously, it depends on the setup, but find the space. So one of my first things I'm teaching is like teaching you to connect to yourself and asking the questions, what do I need? What do I
Mm,
need now? What do I need today?
yeah,
And there's no such that it's not possible. Certain things are not, but then you can find an alternative, you know?
right.
And the solution is not like, oh, I push it away and I'm not doing it. Because it's like, how am I starting to say yes to myself?
Hmm.
And again, the more you do this work again, the more you also are in touch with your intuition.
Hmm.
And more in touch with your intuition, and then you start to when you actually respond to what you need, when you respond to these things, then you see that actually it's taking you somewhere, you start to trust it. So that's the way, you actually build that kind of, it's a process.
Right,
It's not necessarily comes like that.
exactly. What about other wellness techniques that you use on a less regular basis? So not daily, but do you do something that's like, okay, every Sunday I make sure I do this, or every month I make sure I do that?
Yeah, I mean, my life is really, really mobile.
Hmm.
So, but if I have the chance, for me, I go to swim. So that's something that I love. Now I have a pool, so I'm really, but there's the sea because I love water. But also, water is not only it's connecting, of course, to my family, to my, but it's also somewhere for me. It's very meditative. Like with that with that nice feeling of being the water, like to me it's a little bit like meditation. So I love just it, maybe not swim but just being in water. So when there's no opportunity to be in the pool or sea, like when it's cold and I'm in Hungary or Netherlands, or then I always take a bath.
Hmm.
Like once a week for sure, I take a bath and then just let it. I just love being in it. So that's something I do. What I also love doing is a good. I'm not necessarily like I'm a fitness instructor as well, but I don't like to go to the gym that much anymore. However, as I said, like to work with the tone of the body. I think that's also so have a more versatile practice. That's something that also works for me. So having my yoga practice and then once a week doing also some cardio, like walking. I love walking. If it's very cold, I go to the gym, then I walk on the treadmill. But walking is also something that I love doing. I walk a lot. I walk a lot and being with nature a lot. That's something that I love doing. And I think this is like walking and swimming. And then again, It's not for the nervous system, it's more for the tone of the body, doing also activity like Pilates with the machine. So it's like, it's also more, it's a beautiful, beautiful practice. So something that helps keeping my body in tone,
Right.
so that's, so working around, of course, um, the relaxation, and then, the regulation of the nervous system, but also, of course, with the physical body as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can personally identify with walking. It's something that I love doing, especially when you combine it with travel. So you get to a new city or a new place
Yeah.
and you just walk around and just see, okay, what's it like here? What's the culture?
And then discover, yeah, you can connect, you can discover so much, like people, and then also, like, here in the Caribbean, like, everyone is, oh, yeah. So, like, but then also nature, and then it's also physically really, really beneficial.
Right.
Walking is like super nice.
Yeah.
And then just be with, like, a really important tool, just be with nature, find a way to be with nature, just sit with the tree. If you have, if you have questions, if you have doubts, if you are nervous, if just be with nature. I think that would be probably the number one thing I would say. To me, is connecting to nature is like reconnecting to your own nature. Sorry.
I am hearing that doctors are starting to prescribe time in nature as a prescription and a recommendation to their patients.
Honestly. And there is, and just being with nature, I think it's super healing. And if you just walk, it's a beautiful, like, grounding practice when you feel like there's so much going on here, like how to, be more in the body and kind of, like, ground, like just walking in, like, empty feet or bare feet, empty feet. That's a Hungarian way. So, like, say empty feet. So, uh, so you work bare feet on the ground, or you touch the leaves, that brings back more to the present. Or I don't know, just watching the birds. I love watching the birds because, it always tells me, like, you see, the birds are not even fly. We say fly, but basically they're floating.
Yeah.
And then what it reminds me always, like, again, that aspect of surrendering. Like, if you trust, like, everything is becoming like you can just float. You float through everything. It's not like you don't just, like, try. It's like you are just, guided and driven, and then you can just, so life would be a little bit more easier if we had, but then at certain times you need more, you feel that, oh, I don't have enough energy. I feel sometimes I just, honestly, sometimes I just go out and I just start to shake. So, it's also the tension comes out, but then also, like, I feel like actually it's probably the stress that's pushing away my, my senses. Like, I'm not in touch with myself, I'm not in touch with my power. Is the stress that is draining. So I shake it out, and then I start, like, jumping or dancing, and then I really feel that actually, yes, I have my strength, I have my power. So, like, these kind of, practices, very simple but super great.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. What
Yeah.
are some of the wellness trends that you are seeing right now that are interesting to you?
I love seeing, trends around relaxation, the vagus nerve.
Hmm.
Vagus nerve, that's, how to, and trends that are working around the parasympathetic nervous system, so like yoga nidra.
Hmm.
So I really, really love seeing trends that there are actually invitation and tools to practice also, kind of, um, yeah, give attention and practice to your non-active parts of the nervous system, because we're very much about the activation of the nervous system, like the sympathetic, and we know how to get ourselves up and running, but we don't practice how to bring ourselves down. So that's the parasympathetic nervous system. So I love seeing trends and tools and directions
Hmm.
that are supporting people with that. Yeah.
Awesome. Are there any wellness trends that you're seeing right now that are shocking to you or don't really make a lot of sense or are overblown?
I love this question. I think it's nothing new because human we are very creative in a good way, but also very creative in just, like, creating for the sake of creating, like, just to create things that people might buy or be into. So it's nothing really new under the sun because it's been always there since I practice yoga. But yeah, any new trends of yoga, what they come up, like goat yoga, or for me, even wine yoga, like it doesn't necessarily mean, like it doesn't make any sense, or puppy yoga, because I truly believe that what is important is focusing on myself, and then what I can, create in my own direct surrounding, and that surrounding will hopefully uh, affect a bigger, environment and people. So I see it, and I don't necessarily agreeing or understand things, but I try to focus on my own
I love
thing.
that. I love that. I personally am going through the same thing. I'm becoming more aware of my judgmental nature, and I'm starting to question that and trying to understand more where that comes from and why I'm doing it. And it's leading to some really interesting insights and changes. And
Yeah,
what you said is the solution. It's wait a minute, stop focusing outside, go inside and start
exactly.
asking yourself, why am I triggered by this? Why, what is it stirring up within me? And how can I kind of stay in my lane and focus back on what I'm doing rather than being so affected by what's going on outside of me?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's absolutely. And then I cannot. I used to be very annoyed about a lot of things. We know yoga is also has become a fashion, and now I just cannot be bothered, because I think everyone is doing their thing, but what is important is what am I doing? What I'm doing, and then in any kind of situation that, again, still, and not only necessarily the trends, but in general in my life, anything that's a trigger, as you said, like it's just looking, it's also an opportunity, so looking into that, like what does it mean to me,
Hmm.
and how am I responding to that.
Right. What still triggers you?
It's a good question also, time wise, because now, it's restarting kind of my life in the Caribbean. Not I'm not completely 100% here, but like half here, half in Europe. It's very interesting to see. We talk about patriarchal society because that's what we are living. And then here it's absolutely, it's very, very strongly a patriarchic society still. And what I see, and it hurts me a lot, but that's why I work a lot with women to really stand in who they are, is how men still here. It's one thing that they cheat, because you can cheat in a relationship, and I don't approve that, right? But you can still do it with respect. But here it's just like it's a natural thing. I have a girlfriend or have a wife, and then I have a lot of other, women next to it, and I'm even vocal about it. And I think that just that disrespect toward women, it's still something that tends to trigger me. On the other hand, I would say we have a choice, and then, but it's also about education, and a little bit, because if that's what you grew up with, that's what you learned, and obviously you say yes for it, obviously you say yes for it, because that's what natural to you. However, a lot of women say that I'd rather hear, like, okay, I'd rather stay alone, because, and I think it's also not really a solution. The solution is, let's work with who I am, what I need as a woman, and then again, maybe create that energy, and then and attract that kind of partner. And then, it's like, no, the solution is not to stay alone, but the solution is also not to let myself be in this relationship. So yeah, this still triggers me in a way of, just saddens me, to see still that it's still there, and then it still exists, and then here it's absolutely there.
It's amazing the parallels that happen because that is exactly the same theme that I am questioning and living in and being triggered by here in Puerto Vallarta, right? A very gay friendly city. There's a lot of gay
Mhm.
men, and gay relationships are a little bit different than heterosexual ones. So the concept of quote cheating, right, is different here because there are people with open relationship dynamics, but what you brought out of that is so interesting is just the respect part of it. It's like maybe there is a way where we can be more respectful of how we go about doing those types of actions as opposed to the patriarchal way we're seeing where people are bragging about it in a way, right?
Yeah, yeah, Tristan, and that's why I think it's really, really important to, at least for me, I really honor the work to work with women, because it's really hard to be woman today, and then it's also really hard to be man, and then having, like, own it, and then then create these healthy partnerships where you know you are standing there as a as an empowered and embodied woman, and then the man can say the same, and then we can have honest conversations and you know express our needs and you know be independent of course but also grow together. And then when you know there's challenges, go through the challenges together. Where there is a decision to be made to separate, then separate. But and if their form of relationship pattern they want to be or want to is open relationship, that's also fine, you know. But then it's like if I know who I am and I know more what I need, and I can also then communicate about it and you know build a more healthy relationship, you know. So it takes a lot of work and a lot of education and a lot of, but it's also a beautiful journey then, you know. But yeah, that's basically what saddens me. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. Are there wellness trends that you feel like need to blow up more? Things that we're not doing enough?
We are in a good place. Happy what I'm seeing with the trends. You know, if we are just can be fully responsible for and take responsibility of the of what we are, and then and you know the work that we are doing, and then the people that we are working with, then I think we are absolutely fine. Just having that genuine honesty toward ourselves, you know. And then we can also avoid it, and because that's also helping. Am I ready to do this? You know, am I experienced enough to do this? Or, you know, like these questions are needed to be asked. But when it comes to, I think, you know, trends, lineages, new tools, I think there's more and more people out there who are committed to support others on their emotional and mental and even physical well-being. So, you know, I think in that I'm good. I'm happy to see. I'm happy to see that. Really, really. No, wouldn't you agree? What do you think, Tristan, about that?
I think we are talking about things like mental health so much more, and I love that there is less stigma so that we can say, I am not doing well right now, and then seek the help we need. On the other side, as we've been talking about mental health more, at least in the United States, it's actually leading to what's called rumination, which is where people don't move on from past traumas because they just want to talk about their trauma over and over and over again. And so they're not actually healing, they just keep re traumatizing. And so it's like, it's finding that balance between talking about it and seeking help, but then also recognizing when it's best to let go of the past story and start making a new one and start telling a new story, right? Of how yeah, whatever. I've had a past, I've had trauma, but here's what I am now, right? I'm not defined by my past and I'm not defined by my trauma. Here's the identity I'm choosing to have now.
So you yeah, feel that people are using it's like as the world is more open to this, like more people are even kind of using or abusing this as an excuse, like, oh, I was traumatized. Yeah, yeah.
What wellness tips do you find yourself recommending to friends and family or clients over and over again?
Yeah, well, I mentioned to you, like being with nature for sure, uh, walking for sure, and this is important here. Two things. First, find when it comes to movement, because obviously the physical body is really, really important. Find something that gives you joy. If you because I'm hearing a lot of people, oh, but I hate this, I don't like this. The only way that you can be like consistently doing something for a longer run, if you find your joy in that, you know,
Mhm.
in that kind of movement form. I really, really suggest that. That's I think really important. And the second one is finding ways of relaxation. You know, that's very, very important. Like be it a guided meditation or a yin practice or a yoga nidra, anything that regulates your nervous system. Walking in nature, even that is regulating the nervous system. But again, any activity or any non-activity, so anything that regulates the nervous system.
A non activity. I love that.
Non-activity, yeah. So kind of that balance. That's like it's there's an activity and then there's a non-active part
Mhm.
somehow like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then create a routine. That's really, really important. Create a routine, and then rather start with small steps. Just also how I describe the practice, the morning practice of kind of this embodied living. Start with reasonable commitments, because if you want to do too much, then you will not do that. So create a routine, and then make sure that that's something that's reasonable and sustainable for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very important as well.
Yeah, I think the word for that is integration, right? So learning things is great and having all of this knowledge and tools and ideas is incredible, but doesn't mean much if you're not doing them. And you hit the nail on the head that don't try to change your life 100% the next day. Change your life 1% the next day. Do
Yeah,
one thing different
exactly.
and then make a routine out of it and keep doing it and keep going.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. And I'm hearing a lot, people, I don't have time, I don't have this, or people just want, quick solutions for everything. And quick solutions are not I think what is more important is sustainability here, like sustainable solutions, right? So something like do something again that's realistic, don't necessarily reach for immediate solutions, but like again, create a routine that's actually suitable in your schedule where you find joy. And then these two elements, have the right time, as of like schedule wise, it's something you can commit to, and also enjoy, and then the rest will come. If you do it only for the performance, or only like hit it, then once it's over, so again another goal, another goal. I think sometimes it's important to have goals, or most of the times it's important to have intentions and directions. But if you are always about reach this in 1 month and 2 months, and then again that's very much a masculine culture again, and then it won't be balanced, and you will lose it. So again, it's important how you balance it all.
Yeah. I love the terminology of calling it intention and direction as opposed to goal. I think that's more in line with leaving space for intuition and feeling. So it's like, okay, yes, I can commit and schedule things, but I can also give myself the space and grace to say, not today. I know I said I would,
Yeah,
but not today. It's not
yeah,
what I need today. And that's okay. It
yeah.
can be tomorrow and, pick up the habit again. Yeah.
Yeah, again, goal and performance, it's the very masculine side. And sometimes there's part of our lives when we need that. I know I also had parts, but again, that's as we said, like we are cyclical, creatures, so everything goes. So it has to still have the element of 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 allowing.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that.
And that's why I like to call it direction and intention, as you said. Feel into it, maybe today. But then, what I also want to tell you as well, when you create a routine and then you say, I also have it sometimes, I don't feel it. But what I do then, I might not give up my active practice. So I might not say, oh, I don't practice today. I rather ask what I need. Maybe, and again, maybe it's with the bathtub, or that's also the practice of still showing up. Showing up and do that kind of practice or that kind of activity or non-activity that feels right to you that day.
Right. I love that. So rather than saying, "Oh, I don't feel like doing this today," or "It's not what I need," it's like you have to recognize that you still need something, and maybe it means
Yeah,
a non-activity or a less strenuous thing, but you're still showing up. Hmm.
yeah. Because I think the element of discipline in that way, it is important. And if what you need is doing nothing, that's also perfect. But don't, if you also, it's also tricky, because if you say, oh, I don't feel like it, I don't do it, you might also then fall in that trap of then okay, I'm alone. Then it's I think it's a really, really nice dance.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying, like, for keeping up the routine, and then to me, I'm talking about again embodied living here.
Hmm.
It's checking in with you what I need, and then it's a practice day still, or something. You had something scheduled there. Fill up with something that you need that day.
Yeah. Excellent.
And that's absolute, yeah. That's what and everything we are talking about. You see how it all kind of comes down to embodied living, right?
Exactly. What role has community played in your healing journey?
It's really, really important. My life started. I'm an identical twin. So to me, even in a very, coming to my childhood, it's just like to me being in partnership or community, that was just so obvious because my sister was always there for me. So and then throughout the years, like when I started to work also in corporate, in my corporate years, but my first job was like super nice. I had an amazing, community of colleagues around me. And then also in yoga or dance, the dancers around me, or when we were also from where we know each other, that kind of community of teachers who always like, like I think there's hardly anything in this human life that's more important than connections, meaningful connections and community. It's really, really important in my life. However, I also tend to spend, I'm a person, I'm partially introvert and partially extrovert. So I honor, and I think it's also important to spend time uh, with myself. And with that said, still to have those connections in my life that creates the sense of belonging and community.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's deeply healing. The love, the non-judgment, the biggest interest transpersonal psychology. Also, what I'm working with, and Rogers, who actually developed this form of psychology. So it says basically what is really important: the non-judgmental and loving presence. So what is the most healing? I cannot tell you what to do. I cannot even oftentimes not giving advice. But if I'm just embracing you with my love and non-judgmental, energy, then you start basically connect to those parts that you judge yourself for. It's that they were judged by someone. That's how you grew up. So they were negative for you, and then that's why you pushed away. So if you are surrounded by love, and therefore, so that loving community is important, surrounded by love, then you start connect to these according to you like damaged part of yours. You start creating a very different relationship with these parts. You start finding your own solutions, and that's deeply healing. So just the power of love, non-judgment, to surrounding and acceptance. That's if people could have that today, there would be much, much, much less sickness out there, honestly.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I love the part you said about how if we can connect with that ability of ourselves to be in a communal space and love and be there for other people and do it in a non-judgmental way and a non-advice giving way, but just like, hey, I'm here, I'm listening, I'm present.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that too is so deeply healing about community.
absolutely. Like just be in a just referring to previous conversation, just like when someone says that I was selfish, like I was too selfish, and then just like be there, just being there, and then like kind of embracing that person, and then understanding that maybe it was not something that was selfish, but because if selfish, someone says about her or himself like selfish, I think then that there's already that component. I'm judging that in myself. I was too selfish. It has of course a positive way, but the most often the most commonly we are using is negative. And then like if you are surrounded, and then you start also talking about your feelings. So when I was selfish because I just could like focus on myself for this week and not help my mother or whatever. And then but if that's what you need, is completely all right. And then the way then you start to relate to that experience, okay, it's not selfish, but the opposite, maybe something healthy to do, that sometimes I prioritize my own needs.
Right.
So like this is a small example, but that's how it can actually change certain things and certain judgments within ourselves, toward ourselves. And I think that's the beauty of it.
Oh, thank you for that. I love that. I wanted to ask about your diet. What do you feel is amazing about your diet, and what do you feel are challenges you're still looking to overcome?
All right. So let's start with the challenges. My biggest challenge, and it always has been, um, when I'm very busy, when I'm very busy, I forget or not for, I don't prioritize me. I'm much better than before, but still I might skip one meal. And, and that's something that I'm working on still. Because normally when I have and I try to keep a balanced life, I have a really good routine with eating, and I think so that's number one, which is really important. Have a good routine, have like I eat regularly like 5 times, and I don't eat a lot, so I eat small portions.
Mm-hmm.
Also a pita, as we talked about, so I try to also consume. So I kind of align my diet a little bit according to the Ayurvedic
Mm-hmm.
way of eating. Uh, Pita means that I have a lot of fire, so then I try to eat more cooked food, because then I don't need my digestive fire. Then it's an extra fire if you eat like a lot of raw, that you still have, to generate extra fire. So I eat 5 times smaller portions, cooked food. I love salad, so obviously also when I'm in a really warm, country, I eat raw food, and I eat a lot of like, fruits, and I eat a lot of vegetables. What is important in my diet? I don't eat meat for many years, for about 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm in an island where they just, the fish is coming directly from the sea, I eat fish. I eat fish. I also try to avoid being really high on carbs or anything that kind of refined. I don't eat refined sugar. Maybe I eat a little bit of jaggery sometimes, which is like raw cane sugar basically. So no refined products. Uh, no, I don't like deep fried things. I try to avoid breaded and deep fried things. However, also here I have to say that I'm not, I think I look the way I look, uh, despite of my age or next to my age, because I really truly listen to my body,
Mm-hmm.
and I do and eat what I need. If I need an ice cream, I will be eating an ice cream. If I need chips, I will be eating chips, or something that maybe not the regular chips, but like vegetable chips. So something which is an alternative, but I'm never hungry or I'm never starving, I never make myself, suffer. So I feel also here the most important message, that I created that relationship with my body, that I listen to what it needs, and I give it to. So routine like 5 times smaller. That's something my standard. But then what I eat is like what I feel. But I eat like lentils and beans and rice and sweet potato I love, and again a variety oatmeal in the mornings, variety of vegetables and fruits. So to have all the colors and good fibers, but also protein, good fats, and then the not too much but sufficient carb.
Mm-hmm.
So keep it balanced. Yeah.
We have a very similar diet.
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
I don't like heavy food. I hardly ever feel, maybe once in 5 years, and I'm really honest about it. I don't overeat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to overeat. I don't. Luckily, again, if you create that connection with yourself, I think you don't like. It's just you don't get there to overeat.
Yeah, those things fall away. You're right. It does take that connection with the self. Like I had the same thing with cigarettes. I was smoking cigarettes in university until I was feeling more connected with myself and being honest with myself. And I had that internal dialogue of, oh, I don't actually like how I feel when I do this. And I think we can do the same thing with food. It's just that sometimes it takes a bit longer to feel the connection between what we eat and how we feel versus a cigarette. It's a little more immediate.
Exactly. But I think what is important, that not to starve yourself, you know. And again, if you feel like eating something, find an alternative that is still relatively healthy. Like I eat, if I don't like cakes, I don't like creamy stuff, but I love dark chocolate. So then I eat, maybe remember, I eat the dark chocolate. If I want sweet, I eat dark chocolate. Or also like I eat veggie chips, or maybe sweet potato chips as opposed to normal chips. So, having some and also understanding a little bit about nutrition, because when I talk to a lot of people, they don't have they don't understand what are proteins, what are carbs. Like when I'm talking about vegetable, but they say I don't eat veg, I don't eat carbs, sorry. And then I'm asking, so what do you eat? And then they start telling me like sweet potato or apple. I was like, yeah, but you know that there are also carbs. It's the carb is not only bread. So just understand. I think it's important, like with everything. If you wanna, yeah, if you really really wanna be in a good spot, it's important also to understand what it is.
Yeah, having an education and going back and learning the things that we should have been taught in school but weren't, because school is a system and it's an institution that serves a specific purpose and benefits a certain class of people, right?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, a bit of education, as you said, is really really important.
I agree. And
Yeah.
taking that personal responsibility for the education.
Absolutely, as well, not just to keep pushing away. And then because that's also happening, we see it often, like, it's so easy to blame. It's so easy, like, to blame. But no, it's again, that's how I grew up. That's what I know. Or I have to say, for example, here in the Caribbean, like where I am, it's really interesting, Tristan, because it's a Caribbean country, but it's made of two islands. So there's the big island and there's the tiny island. I love to be in the tiny island because that's where there's nature. That's more, like less populated, a lot of nature. The big island is absolutely crazy, just like a big city in the States, right?
Mhm.
The food is really expensive, and then here is nearly double price than in the big island because they have to take everything with the boat.
Yes.
And people don't earn a lot, and they are not educated a lot. So it's sometimes also you have those, kind of conditions, but that's again here the power of education comes in. It would be so important to educate people a little bit about nutrition,
Hmm.
because they still have a choice, because it's a Caribbean country, so they have fruits and they still have veggies, and so they have a lot of, but it's a snacky. They just like in the States, they snack, like
Hmm.
they snack all the time,
Hmm.
all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Snacking is a thing. Yeah.
So, what gives you hope about the future?
There's a lot of things. Like, luckily, I am surrounded. I truly believe that you are also attract those people and those conditions, like, where we are also energy and frequency. So, like, whatever you open yourself up to, that's what you attract. But I'm surrounded with people who are, doing positive and good things. Uh, that, and we know that it's a really, really tough world, and there's so many like wars, and it's really even scary what's happening in the world. But what gives me hope that there's a lot of people who are working toward a healthier, world, as of, better and healthier emotionally, mentally, and that gives me absolutely hope. And that's why, like, also the work I'm doing is truly meaningful to me, because it's all about, as women, if we are again more embodied and empowered and aligned with who we are, coming back to our nature and essence, then also our children are getting, healthier. And so the next generation will be growing up with more empowered and more healthy, and they shape the world, they are the ones who shape the world. So yeah,
Yeah.
I have hope. And that's why I'm so passionate also about what I'm doing. And luckily, I know a lot of people who are the same passionate and experienced and absolutely blessed with their skills and gifts to spread this work, and yourself as well.
Oh, thank
So yeah,
you. Oh, there's a reason we found each other, right?
yeah. we
So,
need we need this.
yes. So, if people want to get in touch with you, work with you, what is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, I have my website. It's www.emesefodor.com, where normally I put my programs. I started actually a beautiful program. I just launched it. It was new moon with solar eclipse on the 2nd of October. So I launched this program, and the registration is open for 11 really courageous women to be in my embodied program for 5 months.
Mhm.
So yeah, you can find me there, and then also there's retreats coming up so on my website, and then also I have my Instagram page where they can find me and connect with me.
What is your
You can.
Instagram name?
It's EME_FODOR.
Okay,
Yeah.
amazing. And what is the last message you would like to leave with our listeners, our Omis?
Yeah. It just love yourself, stand up for who you are, and then be yourself unapologetically. Obviously, that's my message. Just breathe, trust, dance with life because it has your back. I truly, truly believe that. Yeah.
Emese, thank you.
Thank you, Tristan, for inviting me. It was absolutely my joy and pleasure to have this conversation.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Thank you so much for joining us on the How We Are Healing podcast. Remember to keep healing yourself so that we can help heal others. Namaste. Woo! We did
So,
it! Hello, I'm Tristan. I was just like you. I wanted to become a yoga teacher. I noticed all the positive changes it brought to my life. I didn't want to have to travel, though, to do a yoga teacher training and all that goes along with that, right? Being put in a room with a bunch of strangers. What if I had to use the bathroom and I have to miss part of the lecture and dealing with that awkwardness? I also didn't want to have to spend a fortune. And let's be real, yoga teacher trainings can be very expensive. Lastly, I wanted to be able to start teaching yoga right away because if I'm honest, I felt ready before I was even certified. It's just what happens when you find something that really speaks to your soul and when you have that focus and when you have that discipline. For me, the program I wanted didn't exist, but now it does. I created it. I created the yoga teacher training that I dreamed of. It's a course that's affordable at just $99 a month. You can even finish everything within the first 30 days if you're super dedicated. But there's no pressure. Go at your own pace, it's there. Because of this, also, you can start earning money right away. I give you the tools you need so that you can start earning. That means the course immediately starts paying for itself. Just in case that's not enough, there is also a 30-day money-back guarantee. I wanted to make it so that you have nothing to lose, an entire lifetime of yoga knowledge to gain. So what are you waiting for? Get started today. Go to shantiyogaschool.com to access the course now. That's SHANTI yogaschool.com. Hey, it's Tristan again. Thanks for tuning in to How We Are Healing. I hope you found it meaningful. If you'd like to support the podcast, consider leaving a review or sending this episode to friends and family. Until next time, Omis, keep shining.